What's up, guys? So we're back with another video. So today we're actually going to be discussing an article I just got sent to me by a friend of mine from Amnesty International, and it's called U.S. Active Aggression Against Venezuela Further Weakens Rule-Based International Order and Leaves Venezuelans Still Waiting for Justice. And in the article, they argue that the U.S. attack on Venezuela was unlawful and damages what they call a rule-based international order. Bro, what are these people? When has this ever existed? When has this rule-based international order ever existed? And I'm not justifying. I do think what happened in Venezuela is messed up. But like, before we accept that single framework that for some reason, like, people in the West, or specifically Europeans, have this like weird perception of like their place in the in international history since World War II. It's not all pretty like flowers, bro. It's actually the exact opposite. It's filled with bloodshed, constant rule breaking, and rules for thee but not for me. But let's talk about this rule-based order that they talk about, because it's never been consistently applied. Since World War II, powerful states have repeatedly acted outside of UN approval whenever it suited them. When they invaded Iraq in 2003, when they bombed Serbia in 1999, in 2011 when they invaded Libya and created into a freaking slave state. None of these had stable universal legal check that stopped them, and yet they were rarely treated as existential threats to international law. So why is this different? The idea that violations only matter when some states do them is inconsistent. When major powers act, enforcement is selective. Everyone's been talking a big crowd. Europe has been going for 3 years on Russia because of what they did to Ukraine. We do the same thing, no one talks. France literally, since World War II, has committed like 2 genocides in Africa, assassinated like 23 African leaders, and no one bats an eye. All right, like it's not. They face diplomatic criticism at best. It's not a neutral system. It's power politics with legal language attached. So when Amnesty and others treat the U.S. action as if it's breaking rule that was already accepted by everyone, that's like such a naive interpretation. The global order has historically favored geopolitical interests first and legal consistency second. Nations have always pursued regime change, resource access, and influence under euphemisms like humanitarian law enforcement or defense of democracy is my favorite, even though we don't even live in a democracy right now based off of all the stuff that's been happening in the past like 20 years. All right, doesn't mean government should act without accountability, but it does mean we shouldn't act like this moment is suddenly unique and it's fundamental from any other Western actions, like whether in Europe or in America. So the system that Amnesty defends has always had big exceptions for the powerful, and it's naive to think that these rules were ever applied, and it's very naive for you to create a whole argument based off of this false set of perception that you have of reality.